The power cuts and returns in a weak pulse. Somewhere across Tehran, sirens rise, then dissolve into shouting. You keep the lights low anyway. Your suitcase is open on the bed like a confession. Paper is heavier than clothes tonight. Every name you've ever written down has started to feel loud. This is your life, level by level, inside the last evacuation out of Tehran. Act 1: The Burn Bag Night. You can't pack your real life, only what won't get you killed. You pack like you were trained to pack. 2 shirts, 1 sweater, plain socks, a small shaving kit that looks ordinary on purpose. You choose cash over photos, a watch over a book, a single address written in a dull hand on cheap paper. Outside, Tehran keeps moving engines, distant chanting, a door slams somewhere too hard. The bathroom becomes your furnace. You tear contact numbers into rice grain pieces. You soak coded notes in the sink until the ink bleeds out like bruising. You flush fragments in stages so nothing clogs, so nothing floats back up. You tell yourself it's just paper. You tell yourself it's just procedure. You tell yourself you'll remember what matters. You keep one set of documents and destroy the other. You wipe the desk with a damp towel, then check your fingertips for ash that isn't there. In a city where rules change by the hour, proof isn't required, only accusation. And tonight, your name feels like it's already left the room without you. Act 2: The Road to Mehrabad. The checkpoints don't ask questions, they announce verdicts. The car smells like old vinyl and nervous sweat. You ride low in the seat, suitcase tight against your shin, as if pressure can keep it silent. Streetlights blink out in patches. Fires glow in metal drums at corners. Every few blocks, a knot of men stops traffic, young faces, rifles held with the casualness of borrowed authority. A flashlight hits your eyes. The beam lingers on your jaw, your collar, your hands. The trunk opens with a squeal and becomes a stage. Shirts folded too neatly, toiletries lined up, nothing that tells a story. You rehearse your cover until it turns bland. You tell yourself boring is safe. You tell yourself boring is invisible. You tell yourself your voice can be forgettable. They don't interrogate like police. They declare like judges. A Komiteh armband, a handwritten list, a glance that measures confidence and fear with the same suspicion. You can't look nervous, but you can't look certain. Ahead, the airport road thickens, brake lights stacking into a red river where everyone is trying to disappear at the same place. Act 3: Departure Hall. The Komiteh desk. Your passport is a prop, your accent is the real document. Mehrabad hits you like a crowd pressed into concrete. Lines exist, then collapse, then reform under shouted orders that change mid-sentence. Loudspeakers crackle with words you can't quite catch. The air smells of kerosene seeped into clothes, of sweat trapped under winter coats, of cigarettes burned down to the filter. You keep your passport warm in your palm, not for comfort, for control. A Komiteh desk sits where a normal checkpoint should be. No glass barrier, no patience, just a rifle slung loose and a stamp that lands hard, like a gavel. You watch people get pulled out of line for reasons that never get said. When it's your turn, the questions are simple on the surface and sharp underneath. Where are you going? Why now? Who bought the ticket? Your answers have to be small, precise, and interesting. You tell yourself your hesitation is the danger. You tell yourself your tone is the evidence. You tell yourself your accent can betray you faster than any document. A handwritten sheet moves down the line, names, columns, stamps passed hand to hand like a quiet weapon. Your passport feels lighter than the air around you. You've made it past the public line. Now the searches get private. Now the questions get specific. And the next person who steps away to make a call won't be calling your flight. Act 4: Secondary Screening. You're no longer in line. You're in a room where names become decisions. A hand touches your elbow, not hard, not polite. You're guided through a side door into a narrower hallway where the noise drops away, replaced by the hum of fluorescent lights and the dry scrape of boots on tile. Inside, the room is plain. A metal desk, 2 chairs that don't match, a portrait on the wall hung slightly crooked, a heater that clicks but never warms. Your suitcase sits between your feet like a loyal animal waiting for a command. They don't rush, they inventory you. Passport, ticket, any other papers. A man flips through your pages with a thumb that's stained blue from stamps. Another watches your eyes instead of your documents. You tell yourself they only want to confirm. You tell yourself your cover is clean. You tell yourself this is routine. Then the questions narrow. Where did you stay in Tehran? Which street? Which building number? Who met you when you arrived? You answer in units of truth, real intersections, real hotel names stacked to hold up a lie. Your bag opens. Clothes lifted, seams pinched, pockets turned inside out. In this room, silence isn't absence, it's the sound of someone deciding what you are. Act 5: The gate before the last door. You're cleared, but clearance is just a pause before the next test. They let you walk back out like nothing happened. No apology. No stamp to prove you survived. Just a nod that releases you into the terminal again. The waiting area near the gate is a shelter built out of strangers. Families sit on suitcases. Men smoke with their coats still on. A stewardess tries to smile and can't keep it steady. The windows show the apron lights and the dark outline of aircraft tails, all of it looking suddenly fragile. You find a seat where you can see the jetway entrance and the Komiteh patrols pacing in slow loops. Your ticket is damp at the edges from your hand. You check the flight number again. You check the time again. You listen for your name in every burst of Persian over the loudspeaker. You tell yourself you're almost done. You tell yourself the hardest part is behind you. You tell yourself the plane is a guarantee. A man 2 rows over is pulled up by the sleeve. No shouting, just movement. His wife stands and is told to sit. He doesn't argue. He just looks back once, as if memorizing the air. The gate is a mouth, and sometimes it decides not to open. Act 6: Wheels up, and the price. You leave the ground, but you don't leave the ledger behind. Boarding is a surge that tries to be orderly. You step onto the jetway and feel the temperature change, cooler air, recycled, smelling faintly of disinfectant and coffee. At the aircraft door, a flight attendant tears your stub with a practiced motion that suddenly feels intimate. You move down the aisle past knees and elbows, past children already crying from exhaustion, past a man clutching a briefcase to his chest like it contains a heartbeat. You slide into your seat. The cushion is thin, the armrest is sticky, the window is scratched, but you press your forehead near it anyway. Outside, ground crew wave flashlights in clipped patterns. The engines spool up with a rising whine that vibrates in your teeth. You tell yourself you're safe now. You tell yourself the border is a line in the sky. You tell yourself you can become a person again. The wheels lift. Tehran tilts away under a veil of winter haze. Street grids dissolve into darkness, and the airport lights shrink into a handful of stars you can't reach. Only then do you notice your hands, still clenched around nothing, like you're trying to keep hold of a city that has already let go of you. You stare at the seat back card and don't read it. Procedures still follow you: seatbelts, exits, instructions, because the mind likes rules when the world doesn't. You left papers in a sink, names in a toilet, life folded into an ordinary suitcase. The plane climbs on fuel and momentum, but the weight travels with you, quiet and exact. Some departures don't end, they just move.